I have not made that choice. I have been placed at risk.
In July, you
Bill,
told
I
me in
you
July.
Said I could talk.
I want to ask.
No, you're not.
This,
you want to do this? I can leave.
I want an answer on this topic. That's all I want, and then I'll let you talk. You're telling me that there is an order in place, not that you could not see your children, that you felt uncomfortable with the exchange. To tell people that the government is preventing you from seeing your children is technically not true.
Bill,
it's technically not true. They've given you a scenario you're not comfortable with, and you choose not to see them. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Okay.
Why am I wrong?
Because if you can't, I've explained this, but I don't know how many other ways I can explain it to you.
Well, I don't understand.
If you don't have the capacity to do an exchange free from risk of false accusations and everything, if you can't have contact or an exchange that enables the child to come to your vehicle, a reasonable exchange mechanism, you cannot see your children. I drew the parallel earlier. I will draw it again. Go to school. Try to go to school. They'll throw you off the school grounds. I have clients, the parents try to go to school to see their children, and they were threatened with arrest. The threat of arrest is too much for most people, especially if you're a public figure like me.
I do not believe the system is fair. I don't believe the support system is fair. But I guess I just wanted a clarification on the order when your opposing attorney is saying there's an order in place for you to be able to see the children, and you've even admitted that they gave you an opportunity at the holidays, which I think is demeaning and horrible. To make a father have to go to Denny's to be with their kids, it is horrible. However, there comes a point where the kids must come first, and you suck it up. That's all I'm saying. It's my only comment on this topic, that I think it gives dads a bad name when we choose to say, I refuse to be demeaned in that way. I'm not seeing my kids. Because I don't think a mother would do that. Because a mother would die before, and that's the problem we have as fathers. A mother would die before someone kept them from seeing their kids.
Bill, I can't believe I'm hearing you say this. What, fathers won't die for their children?
I believe they will.
Bill, we have people in Iraq giving their lives, and when they come back from Iraq, they're told they can't see their children.
I'm talking about stereotypes.
I'm talking
about stereotypes.
Bill, you're interrupting me.
You're talking about the military, for God's sakes. I'm talking about stereotypes. That's what I'm saying.
Will I get the opportunity on?
You have the opportunity.
Okay. Men give their lives for their children every day. There's no difference between the military and what a mother does.
I am not questioning
Now
that.
You're interrupting me again.
I'm just saying I'm not questioning.
No, you're not.
That.
You're interrupting me. You won't let me talk. Because you know why, Bill? You don't want to hear what I got to say.
Say what you want to say.
Okay, that's your problem here. You want to dominate this discourse. And you don't understand? Because this is what goes on in the court system.
Okay.
Every judge I've been in front of, you take a look at Larry Tenori's Gotham City, that 25-page letter. I go into court in front of one judge, and he opens up by saying, well, I got this case. I don't know why I got it. God knows what it's about. I don't know why I'm getting this case. Is this the way a judge opens up a case and a domestic relations matter involving your children? It's because, like the 2006 Matrimonial Commission report stated, they consider these assignments punishment assignments. And I beg to differ. Children are not punishment assignments. They are number one priority in life. But please, don't lecture me that I'm going to have to go in and act like some sniveling little child to my children. I am their father. I will have the dignity of being a father, and I'm not going to cater to my children as they grow older, because this is the problem we have in society today. We have inverted the child ring, and you've just done it on this show. Thank you. What you have done is demonstrated the problem. Invert the child rearing order, make the children above their parents, let the father come into some Denny's location, and he's catering to the child, say, honey, little boy, little girl, I misbehaved, and I'm here because I'm a misbehaving daddy.
A 6-year-old is not going to know.
Interrupting me again.
I'm going to, listen, it is my show, and you're not answering my questions.
Well, then I'm a guest, and I can leave too. I mean,
you could, and I hope you don't. But I'm saying a 6-year-old is not going to know you, in my opinion,
you're struggling, Bill, because you can't answer the problem. You can't. You know what? You know the problem, Bill, but you've got a different agenda.
No,
listen.
I don't have an agenda here.
Look, you're obviously trying to vilify me like everyone else.
I'm not trying
without
to
giving me the opportunity to be heard. It's called due process under the Constitution.
In an interview,
not that it's applicable
in
here.
an interview in my world, I ask questions, you give answers, I follow up with questions. But when I ask you a question and you take it and you move it away from the question and you talk about other cases and you talk about legal history and all of this stuff, it's taking me away from my interview.
Bill, you said a woman only will give her life like no man will for the child, so I brought up the Iraq War. A perfectly good analogy.
Then let me explain to you what my analogy was. What I was trying to say, and I think I maybe didn't say it properly, is that there are stereotypes that men don't care like women care for their children. It is not true. I don't believe it's true. But when someone like you comes forward and doesn't like the scenario and chooses to fight over seeing their children, that builds the stereotype that we as men face as fathers. And I have a problem with that. See, I believe that, someday I want to fight, and I want to try to change things. I think the support system in this country, at least in New York State, is horribly unfair, and most times unfair to men. But I can't fight that fight until my children are grown up. And I just think that you, by fighting it and giving up the time that you have with your children, you're supporting this stereotype that people have, even men have, against our own gender. That's my gripe. As a man, I think I can have a gripe with what you're doing.
Bill, you're just like the people back in the 1800s or the women back in their day when they said, you know what, we're not competent to vote. We're not competent. We must be slaves because that's our lot in life. And they never broke out of those stereotypes because of people like you, at least the statement that you're making today. Well, they never broke out because they didn't have courage. You don't have courage, Bill. And the reason why you don't have courage is because you could sit behind that mic and you could say how the system doesn't work right. It's time that somebody did take this. I didn't bring this fight. I didn't ask for this fight. I don't enjoy losing my license. I don't enjoy being vilified by a bunch of con artists and people who just rip defamatory statements because they don't got anything better to do. The problem is that we didn't have any problems. We had, if you follow and you read the legal papers, in 2004 and 2005, we had no problems, Bill. I went to preschool. These people know me. They knew I went down there. I was there the first day, my little daughter, when she was first day, because I remembered my first day of school. Sometimes it's good to have two parents because maybe obviously one, and it's the nature of things to have a father and a mother, but we're gender cleansing here. We're removing the male parent. We're dwindling them down to nothing, and I won't stand for it. My little girl was there in preschool crying beyond control because mom had left her there because she had to run off to school as the school teacher that she is, and I had to go check on her. I was just concerned. I wasn't comfortable with that. We were separated at the time. Yep. I went down, I picked up my little girl, I hauled her out of there because she was talking to somebody who really couldn't speak English very well and could not communicate with my little girl while she was bald, curling up in the corner, crying. And I went and picked her up and I hauled her out of there. I didn't care what the staff said or anyone else said. That's my daughter. It's my job to protect her. And I took her away to McDonald's and we played and we did the wonderful things because that's a horrific thing for a little girl to go through at age 4. But I was there for these girls. I was there for them time and again. But the state decided after a year and a half of 3 successfully performed parenting agreements, nobody interfered. There were no lawyers. There were no judges. The state was not involved. Because you know why? Under the Contracts Clause of the United States Constitution, the framers, the founding, quote-unquote, fathers of this nation, believed that our people were qualified enough to engage in contracts. We had 3 contracts, and sure enough, Mom and Dad did them well. We got along better in the separation context than we ever did in the marital or the current context, for sure. But the state decided, well, no, we can't grant this divorce because we haven't seen your financial records. Well, you haven't followed the Child Support Standard Act. You have to go through the formula. And, of course, once you go through the formula, you hire a lawyer. The lawyer says, oh, you get a lot more money out of this guy. Well, after 2 years of proceedings, the judge found that I had been overpaying my ex child support. And then the judge now, the one that just came out in January, she says that my ex is perfectly capable of raising these children on her own. Well, if you can do that, Bill, why are you coming after me for child support? Do you understand, Bill? What it is the state is using these transfer payments like they do everything else in society as a way of raising revenues. That the lawyers make the money, the state gets, state gets kickbacks from the federal government. These are Title 4D Social Security Act incentive payments that the states get for the number and magnitude of child support orders mass produced in these courts. In addition to that,
disagree with you.
Okay, in addition to that, the state, the Child Support Collection Unit, that's a state bank. That's nothing to do with the children. The Child Support Collection Unit accumulates vast numbers of child support orders. They stick it in a bank, and the state draws revenues off of these before they even go to mom.
I don't disagree. The system is bad. I agree with you.
So what do we do about it, Bill? Sit here and just talk?
If being a coward, if I am going back about 4 minutes, if being a coward, being labeled by you, which you called me a coward, if being labeled by you a coward